In the last 2 weeks in June, the first 2 weeks in July, the bark of the paper birch will release without any damage to the tree. Although it is best to find a timber sale or a right-of-way where you can get the bark without causing anyone to be upset. Now all of these trees are going to end up as wood fiber, either be burned or sent to a mill to become fiber for plywood. At the right time, it'll pretty much just come right off without any problem at all. Birch is considered a pioneer species in that it pretty much preps the site for trees to fall. It's usually on the edge or it needs a clearing in order to get established. It needs a great deal of water, and so in times of drought it doesn't do well. And when that happens, the bronze birch borer moves in and it can be very devastating. Under normal circumstances, it probably only lasts about 50, 60 years and then it starts to fall apart, which is too bad because it's really a nice tree. It's an exceptionally nice tree. The birch bark will release at different times in different years. And in some years it's just for a short time, and others it's a week or more. You just have to keep trying until you find the best time to harvest. This is my favorite. It's the berry basket, traditional berry basket. These are spruce roots, and then spruce roots that are split along the top. This is one that I'm going to have to work on and put the rim on, and then take the spruce roots, and they need to be boiled before I can stitch with them. Now, you can use the whole bark or you can weave with birch bark. And this is birch bark weaving. It's just a simple basket where you have to split the bark, which can take a bit of time. And then what you do is you start in the middle and work up and around the outside, and then you finish up back here. This is a little bit more advanced than I'm using this for the past 5 years as a coffee container. That's why it's a little bit darker on the outside. Now, this is actually two-layered. The outside layer follows the curve of the tree, and then on the inside you switch the bark on the second layer so that it presses out. It doesn't want to curve that way, so you scarf it and then put it inside so that it forms a pretty good seed. Use this knife sheath for a long time, probably 5 years, and it doesn't show any sign of wear. This is similar, only it's a wider strip. I kind of like the idea of using a plastic cutter, because when you start measuring and marking and using a scissor, it takes quite a while to finish up a project. This knapsack is split bark and woven. You start in the bottom, weave up and out, and then come around and end up on the bottom. You want to keep your bark flat and under pressure if you can, otherwise overnight it'll curl up like this, and it's difficult to work with. Now, this bark is splitting, but you seldom run across bark that splits this easy. This is the exception. It's what the weavers look for and seldom find. I'll go over how to make this type of container. It's the easiest that I've found, and I really like this pattern. Now, what you need are a good set of chisels. You can measure and scissor, and that's really difficult, but I'll show you an easy way to do it. And good scissors punch some way to mark the bark. You don't have to pencil in on bark or anything. It scratches easy, and doesn't it's easy to clean up. So the chisels are probably the most important part, and a gouge. This is the number 9. This is the easiest and most simple way that I know of to construct a birch bark container. All you need to do is have the right size chisel and gouge, so that you don't have to measure and mark and scissor and cut. This way you just, well, it's just simple. All you have to do is construct these half circles facing inboard. And then on the far side form arrows that will go into the other side. It's just the easy way. I've got the bark squared up, and then I have a scratch line on the bottom as a baseline. So what I'll do is I'll just run 2 more scratch lines on this piece of bark in order to get started. One on each end. The second step is to measure with the chisel and put in the different points I'm going to be using the gouge with later. So on this side, the chisel the first tier, and then go on up the piece of bark to make the rest of the cuts. Now on the opposite side, instead of chiseling the first tier, you just measure and chisel the second tier. Just use the gouge to take out the half circles. This is a whole lot easier when the camera is out of the way. This kind of takes a little more time than I want to. The half circles are chiseled out on both ends. So what I'll do is we'll forget about this end and go down here and construct the arrows, which is fairly easy to do. The last step is to take the container and construct the top and the bottom. All you have to do is, you can have it be round, or a lot of times it's kind of nice to make it oval like this. But anyway, whatever you decide on, you just trace out on a piece of wood and cut it out, and put a plug in so that you can take it on and off once you finish up. This is the best book on birch bark that I found. Plated Basketry with Birch Bark by Yarnish. It it goes into a great deal of detail and shows a lot of pictures. It's a large book, and it's only around $17, $18.